Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for November 25th, 2024. It's Season 3, Episode 330. My goodness, we are just cranking away at this. We're almost done with another year. That marks year 3 completed. Wow. And we made affiliate this morning. So, congratulations, us, I guess. It's been a long haul. But I am Mayor Watt, and along with the sentient AI from the future, we're going to be talking about the effects of that Georgia chemical plant fire, airport worker strike on Thanksgiving, 12 suitcases, a Lululemon heist. Amazon workers in 20 countries are going to strike. Farmer gets cat to help. How does an employee hide $154 million in expenses? What about Ghost Tequila? And South Carolina Police Department resigns. Maybe they were drinking all of the tequila. Kiss my ash. You've got to be kidding me. And how does one collect a suspicious burrito? Sounds sus. See you on the other side of this, because it's all powered by ohmTown.com. Go over there and become a citizen, where you can interact with all of this news, make lists, send them to us so we can evaluate what you want to hear about while we evaluate the news that we go through. Pretty much thousands of articles, just little snippets. We don't get the full article, but we'll explain it on the other side. So once again, I am Mayor Watt. This is ohmTown right there, and the sentient AI says,
Hello, welcome, ohmTown citizens. Thanks for joining us for Non Sequitur News.
yay. So yeah, we talk about 10 news articles, takes about an hour. It depends, really. This last episode that we did yesterday/today, it was a time machine episode. Took us about 45 minutes. So that's, yeah.
That's like a land speed record for us.
Yeah, when we're both doing the news. When it's only one of us doing the news, it's like 30 minutes. And we're like, get in, get out. It's like a SWAT operation. So let's get into this. The first article is, oh no, did I not do it right? I didn't reset any of the articles. So I got to do it the old fashioned way, folks. Okay, let's see if this actually works. So I'm going to do it.
Okay, while you're doing that, to find the show notes, you can do !NSN.
Yep. Go, say it. Oh, yeah. So if you type in !NSN, I'm going to have to do this for you for the first time. !NSN in the show note, in the Twitch chat, because it won't work over in ohmTown on YouTube, at least not yet. Omatron doesn't get along with Twitch or with a YouTube chat. But over on Twitch chat, you can type in !NSN and it'll draw the last episode of Non Sequitur News's show notes. All the others are over on YouTube or the podcast for Non Sequitur News, and we have 6 other weekly news shows that have more niche topics. So the first article that we're going to talk about today is over in Non Sequitur News. New details spotlight consequences of Georgia chemical plant fire. So in a new report on Friday, hey, look at that. New details about the fire that produced a toxic chemical cloud in September have emerged. The article is over at newsweek.com. And Natalie...
Wait, what's our preview? Does the report say something like, oh, no problem?
Yeah, really. No one was harmed. It has nothing to do with anything, and you don't have to worry about anything. Go ahead and drink the water. No? So...
a little too soon after East Palestine.
Yeah, Palestine? Is it East Palestine? Palestine. It is Palestine. So after nearly 2 months since a fire erupted at a biolab chemical plant near Atlanta that produced a toxic chemical cloud, federal investigators revealed new details of the investigation on Friday that shed light on the consequences of the blaze. The fire, which ignited on September 29th at the biolab facility, a division of Kick Consumer Products, specializing in swimming pool and spa water care products, located in Conyers. That's how they pronounce it. Georgia, has led to an investigation into the fire's cause and the response. So, according to an updated investigation report on Friday from the U.S. Chemical Safety and Hazard Investigation Board, or CSB, which next year could be shut down. Who knows? The incident began in the early hours of the morning when a biolab employee on fire watch at the Plant 12 storage warehouse heard a mysterious popping sound. The fact that you have to be on fire watch.
Yeah, but that might be like a law or something. Like, did they decide locally, oh, we have so much risk, we need a fire watch, or are they just required given what they do?
Probably given what they do, but they need to figure out what the hell. So, according to an updated report, water had suddenly come into contact with a water reactive chemical product. Though the employee quickly alerted their colleague and attempted to contain the reaction, the situation escalated, and by 5:10 a.m., toxic vapor clouds were billowing inside the warehouse. Flames broke through the roof just over an hour later, prompting an initial shelter-in-place order, and then the Rockdale Fire Department, or County Fire Department, extinguished the blaze 3 hours later, almost on the dot, apparently, because at 8:10 a.m.
I mean, that is pretty quick, but not based on the picture.
Yeah. And it just billowed this whatever, toxic whatever. Pretty amazing, if you ask me. The report detailed that the toxic vapor plume caused significant disruption, including the temporary closure of Interstate 20 and various local roads, and ordered evacuation and other orders for residents to shelter in place. So they don't say what
What I
that
don't
actual.
get
Go ahead.
is the delay for the evacuation. It's like 4 hours later.
Yeah, they don't say what it is, right? It just says a chemical that's water reactive. Do they not say what it is? Huh.
That's weird. You'd think that would have been the key finding, like it was such and such chemical.
Yeah, they were
Oh,
just,
yeah, it just says what they were testing for, right?
yeah, not what was actually reactive. So, and that leads to speculation. This is the antithesis of transparency. All right, let's keep moving then. The next article, this is how it works. So when you go over to ohmTown.com, you might find an article that you're interested in. When you click on the headline from the front page or from any of the subordinate channels, it'll lead you to the actual content that gets aggregated into ohmTown. And it's a very limited snippet. It's whatever they provide, the source provides, or it's some subset of it, because ohmTown limits, truncates hard what information might be provided by the source. And of all of our sources, only one seems to punch a hole through that by just giving us everything, no matter what, even though I have it hard coded to not allow beyond a certain number.
Some of them are just overshare.
Hey, you know what? We have a
That's why I use that term.
Yeah. So this next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Thanksgiving travel chaos looms as airport workers strike. This is coming at Thanksgiving. Service workers in Charlotte Douglas International Airport have initiated a strike during the busy Thanksgiving travel period.
How would you like to be traveling through that airport right now?
Shannon McDonough put this article together for Newsweek.com. I would not. Employees of ABM and Prospect airport services who handle tasks including aircraft cleaning, trash removal, and assisting wheelchair-bound passengers voted Friday to authorize the strike. The Service Employees International Union, or SEIU, announced the action Monday morning, citing demands for better pay and respect on the job during the holiday travel season, which this isn't really how you get it from passengers, that's for sure. You're just going to piss everybody off. But hey, I think that every human deserves respect for the job they do. It's a job that is, purposeful, has an outcome, is a positive influence on society. But, those CEOs of the airplanes and of airport management and all of that kind of stuff, they don't get Ferraris by treating people with respect. Yeah. All right.
Well, and it says that they're protesting poverty wages. So
many workers earn between $12.50 and $19 an hour, well below what the MIT Living Wage Calculator considers sufficient for a single person with no children in Charlotte, North Carolina. The sociopaths out there will say, well, move.
yeah, but how many resources does somebody have if they're making
below
low
poverty
wages? And yeah, exactly.
So we're on strike today because this is our last resort. We can't keep living like this, ABM cabin cleaner Priscilla Hoyle said in a statement. We're taking action because our families can't survive. So they say critical role during peak holiday season, and I would agree. Let's say airplanes are going to get very messy and all of that trash gets picked up all the time. And honestly, in some airports, I've seen it pushed to the limit to begin with. Can you imagine if nobody's doing the
Right,
job?
because there's so many customers coming through. I mean, yeah, I don't think people really realize because they're kind of stop and go through the airport, but it's a constant. Like as soon as they clean an area, it's probably already due for cleaning again.
Yep. So they say similarly address the strike's timing, stating that it recognizes the seriousness of a labor dispute during a peak travel season. Well, when it's really easy for the company, that's not when you do it. Oh, hey, everybody's on vacation already, so we're going to go on strike. Nobody's traveling anywhere. The pandemic, hey, look, the pandemic kicked off. We should strike. No, you do it when it's going to actually make a difference. Because why? It's showing them that the humans that are driving this are
How
making a
essential
difference.
they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So this is very important, and the strike vote will hopefully make a difference. Barber added that the decision to vote for a 24-hour strike will be financially challenging, and it's only a 24-hour strike. So
Yeah, but they don't get paid leave,
yeah,
which I don't know about that anyway, but I mean that even is more compelling, right? People that are struggling financially can't afford to lose a day of work, but they're doing it for the long term.
Yeah, to try and make a difference for everybody who comes after, as well as now. Yep, because companies will not give. They won't, because they're giving to the stockholders and to the C-suite and other investors that are deemed more important than the human machinery that's making it actually go. I'll never understand it. I will never understand it. How the human capital is marginalized on the daily. So let's keep moving. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News, and yesterday/Time Machine episode, we actually talked about this. A couple in the alleged $1 million Lululemon theft had 12 suitcases of goods. The question you asked has now been answered.
How many items did they have?
12 suitcases.
For $1 million? That's kind of concerning, although the leggings are known to be very thin.
And expensive. And so you can roll them up really tight and stick them in there. That's probably not what these felonious clothing wears. How do you do bespoke felons? Felonious bespoke? Felonious lemon?
Fashionistas?
Felonious fashionistas. Whoa, look at you. That's like a shirt. We need to make a shirt that says Felonious Fashionista on it. And then when somebody asks what it's all about, you go, well, I was part of that $1 million Lululemon theft ring across multiple states. Anyway, when you click that link, you get taken over to the source. Sean O'Driscoll at newsweek.com put the article together. Oh, these are the two. Weird, like crazy eyes. Like a doll's eyes. We're going to need a bigger boat. Sorry, it's from
That's
Jaws.
a lot of things combined.
Look at that, man. Those eyes. Those eyes like make you want to go. No. Anyway, stop staring at me.
I know you didn't just take my Lululemon.
Yeah, I know you didn't touch my Lululemons. Well, when life gives you Lululemons, you take them and become a felon. $1 million, though, that you have to be hustling like go, go, go.
Okay, but the dozen suitcases only had $50,000. So how many suitcases would they have had?
I don't know what they ended up doing because they would return them, I guess, for cash.
No, they were exchanging them, but they never bought them to begin with. They had this complicated scheme where like they bought a couple of items, then
Right.
like stole a tag, and then when they beep, they're like, "Oh yeah, here's my receipt" or whatever. But meanwhile, they had many more, and then they'd take the stolen items and exchange them, which was interesting, I guess, maybe to get an actual receipt. Who knows?
Yeah, I thought that they were returning them in another store. So since their arrest, Richards was released on a $100,000 bond, while Laws Richards was released on a $30,000 bond, and they're scheduled to appear in court on December 16th. So yeah, they would basically go into a Lululemon store and then put on a bunch of clothes and have another side item. And when they would go through the alarm would go off. And then one of the two would sit there and go, oh, I had this too. Oh, sorry about that. Here you go. And they'd walk out and go next door to the other Lululemon because they're like Starbucks, right? They're like all over the place.
Every corner.
Every corner.
They would have had about 240 suitcases worth with this amount of money.
All right.
Yes, I calculated that.
Someone did the math. The sentient AI from the future. Oh no. Sorry. The silence and me peering over is there's an inhabitant in the mayoral mansion that might appear because of the angle of attack of the monitor or the camera, and they don't know what the word no is. Anyway, much like the sentient AI, they do what they damn well please. Anyway, prosecutors asked for a $1 million bond for each of them. The office alleged in its criminal complaint that the couple orchestrated thefts of up to $1 million from the Lululemon line of stores in multiple states, which it says that Lululemon sells mostly female athletic clothing. Man, that's not female athletic clothing. It's my athletic clothing if I want to wear Lululemon. It doesn't... You better check your gender assumption. Shit. Anyway, let's move on. The next article is over in Hatch Ideas, which is all about business transformation. Amazon workers in 20 countries to protest or strike on Black Friday.
I'm noticing companies are or the workers are kind of paying attention to the holidays.
Julia K. Put the article together over at theguardian.com. The Fighting Guardians. And it says workers and their representatives to press U.S. retailer to respect their rights and take action on the climate crisis. Okay. I understand, but this isn't about equity and inclusion and stuff like that. This is about the climate.
It's about workers' rights, so I think it's a conglomeration of things.
Respect their rights. Okay. So thousands of Amazon workers are expected to protest or strike in more than 20 countries during Black Friday to press for better workers' rights and climate action from the U.S. retailer. Well, I know that they've been changing up what they have available in terms of boxing up
Yeah,
items
their
and stuff like that.
packaging,
They're changing
they've
their packaging.
tried to go for more sustainable.
Yeah. And most of it is recyclable now. And although I think that their paper envelope packaging is much to be desired because it actually soaks up water. It's not water resistant. So if it rains when your package shows up, you had better get to it pretty, pretty damn quick. Otherwise, you're going to have a sponge. Now, it's okay if you have a sponge in the package. All it's doing is going to
That's
make a dry
true.
spot.
Then it'll suck up all the water.
That's right. And then at least your patio is dry. Or wherever they stuck the damn thing. Anyway, spearheaded by the Swiss-based UNI Global Union for Service Industries and the activist umbrella group Progressive International, Make Amazon Pay is made up of more than 80 trade unions, anti-poverty and garment worker rights groups, and others. Make Amazon Pay. It's in the name. I mean,
It's very niche. But
it's,
Amazon is like a huge company
yeah,
globally and in the US.
yeah. We demand the right to unions. Unionize? Unionize. There's the banner
Oh, it's
wraps
because it might
around.
be British.
No. I think it's unionize. It's wrapped around the thing.
I know, but it's spelled with a non-US
Oh,
spelling.
right. The ZS thing. Anyway, yeah. So here in the UK, Amazon represents everything that is broken about our economy: insecure work, poverty wages, unsafe working conditions. GMB will not let these shape the world of work for the next decade. Okay. Sorry, the silence is me grabbing the next article. So, yep. Maybe I'll. No, it takes too long to do this. I need to prep this in the future. Never make this mistake again. Yeah, we're never going
Okay, we
back.
heard it here first.
Yeah, well, I'll make the mistake again. Anyway, farmer gets barn cat to help with mice. Senior horse has other plans. Is that the name? Senior horse. Viewers were moved by the unique bond formed between the two animals, with one saying, "This is the most precious thing ever." When you click the link, you get taken over to Newsweek, and Sue Kim put the article together. There's so there's a little cat and a horse sitting next to each other on a fence. The cat is actually, it appears that it climbed up the fence and is like resting its arms.
Right, hanging out near the horse. And then it was riding on the back of the horse.
Yep. And now it's weaving between its legs. So the footage later shows the feline sitting on the horse's back while it moves across the field. The cat is later shown walking around the horse's feet as a subsequent note across the screen reads, "And she ends up being your old retired horse's best friend." So,
Yeah, the cat was supposed to help with the mice on the farm.
yeah, it can still help, but it became the best friend of this horse, an old retired horse. I should get a cat. Put out to pasture. So it's somebody says the most precious thing ever. Can't really say much more about this. This is a fun little article. If you want to know more about it, then follow the links through ohmTown and go check it out. Did you want to say
I
anything
didn't,
else?
well, I didn't know that cats and horses were buddies, but I also have never seen a cat riding on a horse.
Here's another one. It's a different cat and a different horse. But there it is, sitting on the back of the horse. Do
Maybe that's
cats
more common than we realize, but
do cats get along with horses? See, a
I would
video
think
about
they'd
an
be afraid
unlikely.
of horses.
See, this is a Getty image that we're looking at, and it has like a different colored cat and a different colored horse. But then they tack on a video about an unlikely bond formed between a barn cat and a horse has gone viral on TikTok. Is that a barn horse? I mean, the
It might
implication is
be.
a barn cat and a horse. It goes inside the house. Let's keep moving. So this next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Macy's says an employee hid up to $154 million in expenses, and that delays the Q3 earnings. Macy's says it's delaying the release of its fiscal third quarter earnings results after it discovered up to $154 million in accounting-related issues. What?
How does this happen? This is not a dollar. It's not $154.
It's not $1 million. It's $154 million. I don't get it.
Did the book show something like $0 in expenses for the quarter? Like that's just how how was this missed?
The implication is that there was culpability, like an employee, you know,
True.
like
But
there's,
was anybody else looking at any figures at all for the company? Like this seems like so much money that it'd be impossible to hide unless all the numbers were fabricated or something.
yeah, how do you get to one person making that kind of a mistake without somebody else? Michelle Chapman over at abcnews.go.com, the fighting goat, says here the department store chain, which operates Bloomingdale's and, wow, is everything blue? Blue Macy, Blue Mercury, Bloomingdale's.
Apparently.
It's not Blue Macy's. It's just Macy's. Anyway, reported stronger than expected sales for the third quarter and said that it's delaying the release of its full quarterly results after it discovered an employee intentionally hid up to $154 million of expenses over several years. Okay.
Oh my gosh, this is going to be a nightmare if this is a publicly traded company.
Yeah, I
I
don't
mean, it's going to
know.
be a nightmare anyway, but I'm just thinking of all the ramifications of like all the earnings and all that being off.
So, uh, releasing quarterly results implies that it's public.
Right. It looks like it's publicly traded.
But I don't know what nowadays. Who knows, man? There could be some not-for-profit wing that's powering the for-profit side of Macy's.
That's just OpenAI.
The
It is
balloon.
publicly traded.
Yeah. So, and as far as I have known, they've been in kind of trouble. But I stopped monitoring them a long time ago. The company recognized about $4.36 billion of delivery expenses during the same time period from fourth quarter of 2021 through the fiscal quarter ended November 2nd. And they say here that the retailer said that on Monday it had identified an issue related to delivery expenses in one of its accrual accounts earlier this month. An independent investigation and forensic analysis found that a single employee with responsibility for small package delivery expense accounting intentionally made erroneous accounting accrual entries to hide roughly $132 to $154 million of expenses in just 3 years.
Again, that's such a high amount. Okay, but at least it sounds like the numbers were fabricated. So maybe, but what I don't really get is at some point you don't have enough money to pay for certain items. The other thing is, if they're already reporting billions of expenses, why are they hiding this small amount unless it's being funneled to somebody's bank account or something?
Yeah, where did the money go? Because it's still in the system. It's an expense. So it has to be coming from an account somewhere. So what's going on with that account? You can't just hide money flowing out of the system, and people have to be getting paid.
Right. So who's getting paid? I guess follow the money.
From which fund?
Well, who knows? Because it's already been fabricated. So who knows where it is? But since everything is typically electronic, maybe it'll be easy to,
Yeah, I don't get it.
maybe they can pull all the person's personal accounts or something. And,
I mean,
if they see $100-some million sitting in there.
there's an invoice from these delivery companies. So,
Right. But how are they getting paid? Or were they like pass throughs and the employee owned them or something? That, I mean, that's what I suspect, but I don't know.
but it
Like,
would
were the
still
deliveries even happening?
that might be the other thing. Yeah. But no, they would have to, because the deliveries come from, like, okay, so I've taken disparate systems and worked with engineers to make middleware so that these disparate systems would communicate with each other so it can consolidate data into a central location. That way, you know exactly what's going on in an enterprise from one spot. Not everybody had rights to do whatever the hell they wanted to, but you always knew what was drawing from an account and could project into the future from that point. So, where in this did everything break down that deliveries could be made, but the accounting was suppressed? I
Yeah, it
really don't
doesn't
get
make
it.
any sense. It should have almost immediately come to light
Yeah,
because somebody's not getting paid, somebody's not getting their delivery, something is failing.
yeah, yeah. And one person was apparently responsible for this. Meh. Maybe on the reporting side, but inside, everybody had to have known. I mean,
Yeah, this I don't think with a company this size, that was the only person that could be involved.
yeah, it says the company did provide some preliminary results for its third quarter, including that net sales fell 2.4% to $4.74 billion. That's net sales, not profit. And slightly above the average analyst estimate of 4.72 billion, which is an amazing amount of money for a company that isn't even on my radar anymore. But I find fascinating that the dynamic of this has shown that one person caused that 150 up to $154 million worth of expenses suppressed.
Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous because it suggests that nobody was overseeing this person or this whole section or whatever.
Yep. All right, moving on. Next article is over in Distillerist, which is all about, well, adult beverages, distilled products. Um, so spicy tequila brand Ghost. Demand for spice boosts Ghost Tequila's growth. They've seen a 20% growth in sales in year to date, driven by Gen Z's demand for spicier cocktail options. I've actually been requested to make a spicy beverage concoction that you can add to drinks, which is kind of fascinating. Because what people seemingly want is whatever their beverage is of choice, but then spice it up without materially affecting.
Right, they still want, I guess, the character or whatever of the original drink.
Just spicier. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. So, however, they've noted the cocktail popularity is part of a much larger movement. Consumers are increasingly interested in spicy flavors across the board. According to recent studies from Advantage Solutions, over 60% of millennials and Gen Z drinkers report seeking out spicier options in both food and drinks, and the demand for spicy cocktails has surged year over year. This summer, soft drinks and Giant Coca-Cola identified a 124% increase in something. See how we just stop it? We don't allow too much fluff. We want to be able to go, this is interesting enough for us to click the source, and then we see the source. So Georgie Collins over at which Collins, it's like the drink. You should name a drink after this person. A Collins glass.
Right, but oh, I think there's a cocktail with the last name Collins.
I know that there's a glass called the Collins. I think, yeah. Anyway, let's move on. So, Gordon explained that the use of ghost pepper provides tequila with a natural smoothness and heat that blends seamlessly in drinks, unlike the sharper, sometimes overpowering flavor of jalapeno.
That's interesting because I would think a ghost pepper more than a jalapeno might overpower something, but
Now it says this versatility, he said, allows bartenders to experiment confidently, whether crafting a classic spicy margarita or a creative new cocktail. Ghost Balanced Spice is a standout feature that bartenders enjoy working with and are proud to recommend to their patrons. Okay, tequila All right. I like a good tequila drink. Ghost pepper tequila? Hell no. I might try it
It
once.
seems a bit intense.
Yeah. Might have to go. You'll have to bring your analyzer and see if, oh, well, I guess not. So this really seems more like this is a marketing message, but I found it really compelling to talk about this in this day and age, because what is actually still growing by leaps and bounds are the more expensive exotic drinks, either fine cocktails or the spirits themselves, where you drink them straight, like bourbons and rums and so on, gins and other expressions that are more exotic and craft level, where
Yeah, I don't think people want the same thing that's been out there.
yeah, they don't want macro. Regardless, they want craft brew, not macro brew. They want craft distilleries, boutique distilleries, and
Limited release kind of products, etc.
yeah.
Small batch, yeah.
And then on the other side, they want, where macro does come in, is that they've got legs. They've been around for 30 years. And so they've got upwards of 30, 40-year expressions that are still in barrels that are waiting to be bottled. And then you get this expression that there's only 100 bottles. And so I don't know what happened, but there are some bottles out there that are $2,000 or more of things that 5 years ago nobody would have given one.
I guess it's a difference in tastes, and
like,
alcohol consumption, I think, is up, at least in the US. I don't know if globally.
Yeah, like Van Winkle. There's a Van Winkle that people are like, oh my God. And there's a term for it where it's been assigned. I can't remember what they call it right now, but basically everything has been assigned to someone. And so you can't get it anymore. Yeah.
Wow, that's very, I don't know what the word is.
Hey, if it's already been accounted for, then, if I can't get it, then I can't get it. It doesn't matter how much it costs. If it isn't even available, then okay, well, I guess not. But there's some serious gatekeeping and nepotism where it's not an open market. I know a friend who has access to these.
Exactly. It's not like it was out there for purchase and somebody bought it first.
Yeah. Somewhere out there is a mini keg for me. But I've never followed up on it. So maybe it'll sit in that warehouse and I'll be able to give it to my kid's kid. Of course, I have to build the robot kid and put it's going to be a sentient AI kind of thing. I mean, I'm the mayor. I can't sit there and have it. Anyway, I'm trying to be funny, but I think I'm failing. Anyway, entire South Carolina Police Department resigns, and I am actually blaming that ghost Tequila.
I thought it was because of the monkeys.
It might be the monkeys too. There's emus also running around apparently. Citing alleged.
What is happening?
This is by the town council. The police chief and his 4 officers resigned en masse, citing alleged harassment by a member of McCall's town council. Try that in a small town. So it's over in Newsweek.com. Chloe Mayer put the article together. It is with a heavy heart that I do confirm my resignation as chief of police of the McCall Police Department, along with all 4 of my fellow officers. It's a huge hit. Chaos is going to run amok.
I know. I mean, it's pretty rare that an entire department goes.
That's interesting. McCall has a mayor and 6 council members, but Hale did not identify the official at the heart of his allegations. So 6 council members irritated the police department chief and all of the officers to bow out all at once.
I cannot imagine what this is. I mean, it seems like they just ignore them or something, but we don't know what the level of behavior was.
My
Plus,
personal...
did they see the town council members every time they went anywhere in the town?
It's weird, right? For months, I've endured unwarranted and malicious behavior aimed at undermining my integrity and leadership. These actions have not only affected me personally, but have also created a toxic atmosphere that has hindered the department's ability to function effectively. Despite our efforts to address these issues professionally and through appropriate channels, the harassment and hostility have persisted. This guy is a cop. He's the top cop. Go to the
Doesn't
DA.
mean he should be subjected to harassment. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised they didn't bring it up to
The
the
boss's
state
boss.
or whomever. Yeah.
Yeah, because the thing about this is, while you do have First Amendment rights to address the administration of a government organization, harassment is not protected speech. So, I mean, you're a police officer. He'll also blast a decision to cut a significant amount of money from our already depleted budget by the same council person. I say councilman. As a result, critical needs went unmet. They said, adding that the lack of investment hampered their ability to operate. So, yeah, I mean, if the objective was to hobble the police department, they did an effective job to the point where either they have to fire somebody or they all bounce. But you've just solidified their ability to replace you with another force at a lower rate because people
And
want to freaking
perhaps
eat.
more agreeable if there was some sort of conflict.
Or more sociopathic or whatever, right? Yeah, try that in a small town. So Gartner said that he was shocked by Hale's subsequent post on Facebook. The mayor admitted that there had been professional disputes between the police and the councilman, but told the police, "We addressed it. We thought that we had all come to an agreement to let bygones be bygones. Apologies were made and accepted. I thought everything was fine." Not so. Yeah. So, I mean, if it continued after the apologies, then there is...
Well, and also, I mean, is this one snarky comment? Is this like an enduring, targeted? I mean, we don't know what was going on here.
Yeah, I don't quite get it. But this is one of those things where there's like a little snippet and people like to talk about this kind of stuff because it's part of what happened.
I find it interesting that they've had 6 police chiefs in 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, is it because of this? It takes a special person to work here in McCall. This is the kind of thing this is why you have the federal government, because if the state can't solve this internally, then you bring federal oversight on board to resolve this. Because what can happen is, in a vacuum, abuse will happen. The lights go off, abuse happens in the dark. And that's what I kind of see.
This seems like there's something bigger beyond the police department here, but it is very rare for an entire police department to resign.
Yeah. Nowadays, though, hell, I don't necessarily think... You just never know now, right? I mean, and we've heard of other police forces bowing out.
We have, but it's still not very common.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
I have no doubt we'll see more about this because I suspect somebody's going to come in and look and see what happened, and we'll see a report on whatever that was, and we'll be sure to add it.
I don't know if the Post and Courier is this little map dot kind of a place, but might be interesting to monitor this. Somebody's going to be reporting on this, and that's when the council people go after the newspapers because they're doing investigative reporting. This alone is landing them high on the attention
well, and I'm
radar.
glad that the national media picked this up because this would be easy to kind of skip over, like, oh, this is a small town.
Let's move on. Next article's over in Non Sequitur News. Family realized that they have the wrong ashes after relative found alive.
So whose ashes are they?
I said, kiss my ash. You've got to be kidding. So the family kept the ashes of the wrong man on an altar in their home for 3 years. Where was the relative? We have a lot of Newsweek stuff this week, or today.
Yeah, they had a lot of interesting stories today.
Lottie McGrath over at Newsweek.com put the article together. Yeah, unfortunately, this is kind of endemic in large cities in the United States, and everywhere there are large cities. And the real problem is that there isn't jobs for everyone, and not everyone has the mental health available to facilitate going either back to school and retooling or coping with issues and skipping drugs. And it becomes a spiral. And yeah, and humans just don't seem to take it very seriously as a species. There is a subset that takes it very serious, and then there's sociopaths who don't care of the human condition. So, however, when a friend saw the presumed dead Robinson walking in the Tenderloin district earlier this year, it became clear that there'd
that's
been a
kind of
mix-up.
funny. Not the rest of it, of course, but like, can
So
you imagine? You probably went to the funeral if you're good friends with the family, and then you're like,
you've mourned, you've done through all of the levels, you've come to grips with the loss of a loved one, etc. But there's always more to this, right? So a man was discovered to have died of a drug overdose outside the Dahlia Hotel in San Francisco's Tenderloin district in May of 2021. And the San Francisco medical examiner identified the deceased as James Robinson. They always have to include the middle name. And link it to a birth certificate of some kind. If it wasn't so dystopian, I would say you need DNA samples of everybody so that upon their demise, you can verify beyond a shadow of a doubt.
that might have helped here, though.
Yeah. So the family had the ashes in an urn on their altar in the East Bay home for 3 years. So they were a loved one cared for enough that even though they may have died of a drug overdose in some unknown region, blah, 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 they were appreciated enough to be in an urn on a mantle. So on an altar, actually, they say. So yeah, a friend apparently saw the presumed dead family member walking in the Tenderloin district earlier this year, and it became clear that there had been a mix-up. Robinson was tracked down by the daughter in July of this year, and the pair reunited. There we go. Subsequent DNA testing then revealed the true identity of the deceased, a man named Jacob Bruce Krisinger. His family were only told about his death in early November, 3 years later.
I mean, this is really sad all around. I cannot imagine what that call was like to the family who had already had the funeral.
We have some good news and some bad news.
Right.
What do you want to hear first? Well, your brother's still alive. Unfortunately, we put him in an urn, and he's been sitting on somebody's mantle for 3 years, so he's going to be irritated. They pull him out and like blow on it in his mouth to inflate him to full size because they've taken this.
Right.
I might be overthinking this. Anyway, you shouldn't be misidentified because they failed to do a DNA test. They failed to have the family come down and identify him. Agree. So, of course, they do the only thing that they can possibly do without financial remuneration. We extend our sincere condolences to Jacob Krisinger's loved ones and family. Yeah, and again, it's the DOJ. Look, it is a federal government agency that does this kind of stuff.
That fixed it.
Yes, that fixed it. Otherwise, this shit would have just languished at the state level. So some of Robinson's friends said that they'd seen him since his second disappearance. However, his daughter, Kylie Robinson, has not seen his father since, but told NBC Bay Area that she goes to search for him on weekends. So this really sucks. I mean, it's an ongoing thing with the person, so.
It is. Hopefully the two families at least can commiserate with each other. I mean, because they've both been through something really unusual.
Yeah, this is an encounter group where there's only 2 people partaking in that meeting
Right, because that's like the only people that, and not just in that city, like anywhere.
anywhere. Yeah. Except for maybe missing people, right? Like we don't know where they are. There's a lot of
Well,
them.
right,
Apparently, there's
absolutely.
a shit ton of them. So our final article for today's non sequitur news is an Uber Eats driver collects a suspicious burrito and calls the police.
Okay, wait. When I read that headline, it looks like the Uber ate the driver.
And
Because if
Uber
you do the
eats
wrong emphasis,
an Uber eats a delivery driver in New Jersey and ended up calling the police after. Did you hear about the Uber Eats delivery driver that ate a clown?
no.
They stopped after the first bite because it tasted funny. No. Anyway, they ended up calling the police after they picked up a burrito order that did not smell like food. What do you think it was? Hmm? Want to take a stab at it? No?
Well, it's got to be something that's probably not supposed to be delivered,
I don't know. Do you think it was like a hash burrito?
like drugs.
Like drugs, marijuana. Yeah. This is probably going to
Yeah,
get me shadow
probably
banned.
something like that. Right.
YouTube is going to go, no, we're not talking about that. Although I was just watching a stream, a gaming stream that was sitting there talking about, I don't want to say, let's just say adult content. But anyway, so we click the link. It takes us, gosh, Newsweek is just all over it today. What's going on?
Yeah, they were really knocking it out of the park today.
Oh, yeah, I'm right. So they put the video doesn't necessarily have anything to do with this, but it's talking about marijuana election results in 4 states. The article is over at Newsweek. Sophie Clark put the article together, and oh yeah, so it's either hops or it's marijuana. Which hops is like a derivative, not a derivative. It's in the same family or something like that. But it doesn't have a deleterious effect. So, according to Washington Township Police Department, the delivery worker who was driving through Washington Township to Glassboro with what they thought was an order of Mexican food rang the police because the burrito they were delivering smelled strongly of marijuana.
Wait, they were driving the burrito, not delivering it. Like, did they have it belted in as a passenger?
Wait, the delivery worker who was driving through Washington Township to Glassboro with what he thought was an order of Mexican food. So he was delivering this.
I was just laughing because it said the burrito they were driving.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, the burrito they were driving. Yeah, I get it. That's a hell of a burrito. Wow.
Exactly.
Can you imagine? You're like driving along. I mean, okay, you get a burrito because you have the munchies. You don't get a burrito because you want to have the munchies later. Although maybe you do. I don't know.
I don't know.
Hey, Timeless. Welcome to the show. We're about to end the show, but you did catch the tail end of it. I've got mayoral duties. So Timeless says, wait, I thought marijuana was legalized now in the U.S. It is in many, many, many states, not federally. And so you could actually possibly run into trouble crossing state lines. And you have to verify certain things. And so I don't think Uber Eats is the delivery agent for marijuana.
Right. There are some allowances to have marijuana in New Jersey, but that may be different than who can sell or transport or whatever.
Right. So, and using something surreptitiously, like an Uber Eats driver to be a courier for drugs, using them for distribution and things like that are more than likely illegal. So, yeah, it can kind of cause a problem. So, there, according to the police department, he discovered that the driver was actually transporting an ounce of marijuana wrapped in foil, a bottle of water, and a box of soup. So, you got to stay hydrated and you're ready for the munchies. So this burrito was prepped, ready to roll. But I mean, it's an ounce of marijuana. That's I guess, an odd sized burrito too. So posting a photo of the burrito in question to their Instagram page, the department added this wasn't the kind of wrap anyone ordered. I don't know about that. The burrito is now in evidence and we're cooking up an investigation. If you know anything about the high-flying delivery, call their detective bureau, and they give the number. Of course, if this was posted anywhere towards Reddit, they would have some really interesting discussion taking place. But it
I'm
says,
sure there would be.
recreational marijuana is legal in the state of New Jersey. Customers over the age of 21 can purchase weed from dispensaries across the state. However, according to research from the CAS, Center for Alcohol and Substance Use Studies at Rutgers University, the illegal weed market still thrives even when the drug is legalized in the state, mainly because craft growers do different things, create different strains, and there isn't necessarily that diversity in the dispensaries or the things that you're allowed to get. Although if you go to a dispensary, yeah, you're going to find a ton. But Timeless says, gotcha. Also, even if near the end, still happy to have caught you and your sentient AI. So Timeless_exe, thank you very much. I'll give you a shout out as well in the chat, but there's not a lot of people. So hold on. We're doing it live, right? Oh,
What could go wrong?
yeah. There we go. Hey, it works. So thanks for coming and hanging out for as long as you could, I suppose. Yeah. I guess in a nutshell, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Where would you like to go? I can send you over to somebody else. Yeah, thanks. All right. So, as we always do, I guess we're going to spark one up, and that's going to send us over to the front page of ohmTown. And now if you hear, hold on, if you hear frogs, it isn't because of the marijuana. Anyway, so we're out of here for the night. We'll see you tomorrow, probably 7 o'clock, not 6. It really depends on how fast we can get the show ready. And we have a small window wherein we do all of the work that's necessary to facilitate the show. And then if mayoral duties prevent me from doing the show later, then we pull it forward as early as possible. So be sure to follow us here on Twitch and over on YouTube. Be sure to download the podcast, because if you miss either of the shows and you don't want to stream it from YouTube, you have the podcast. I normally put those live either that same night or the next morning. I'm kind of in a rhythm now, so I get it done within an hour or so. Again, unless I get pulled away. So that's it. We're going to say goodnight. I'm Mayor Watt saying bye. So is the sentient AI.
Good night, ohmTown citizens. Thanks for joining us for Non Sequitur News, and be back tomorrow.
And if you really want to hear more of my dulcet tones and the piercing through like a sharp axe, that cold breeze when it first hit. Anyway, no, the lovely simulated voice of the sentient AI. We have over 1,500 or around 1,500 episodes over on YouTube, because Twitch deletes after 60 days. Sorry. Cheers, Timeless. Take care, everybody. Over on YouTube and Twitch. Bye-bye. Once again, I usually say something witty here, but yeah, just not really feeling it. Yeah.